Hi everyone, this is Arkady Frekhtman. I'm a New York City personal injury trial attorney. And today I wanted to talk about something very interesting. And that is about the value of personal injury lawsuits. But not just the value as some people may consider it, but all of the different factors that a lawyer can do, right? All of the different levers that a lawyer can pull, all of the different buttons that a lawyer can push in order to increase the value and get the absolute maximum possible result for serious injury victims and their families, which is our goal as a law firm. So what do I mean by that? Well, I've been doing a lot of Last Week Tonight episodes where I answer people's questions. And the number one question I get is, what is my case worth? I've had a shoulder arthroscopy, or I have $100,000 in medical bills, or I have a herniated disc. What is my case worth? Well, it doesn't work like that, right? And the reason it doesn't work like that, like I can't tell you what it's worth based only on a medical diagnosis without getting to know you. Now, if I was to go to your house, if I was to knock on the door and you open it up and I come in and I sit down and I talk with you and we have a cup of coffee and I get to know you, I get to understand your biography, your human story, then I could tell that story to a jury. So now, instead of going to a jury and saying, this is a person who had an arthroscopy, or this is a person who has $100,000 in medical bills, I could tell, hey, this is John. John was born in Kentucky. He grew up playing baseball. He really loved baseball and he was going to play in college. But now because of this wreck, he can't play baseball anymore. And that's what he loves to do. That's his passion. Taking that away from John is taking away everything from him. That was his life. Playing baseball, practicing. He was working out 5 days a week. That was everything to him. You see, now the jury can have empathy for him. They can understand. Maybe they don't play baseball. Maybe they love something else like cooking, or maybe one of the jurors loves sewing, but she could understand, how taking something away from somebody could really impact their life. Another thing that we could talk about is family, right? How has the family been affected by an injury? Oftentimes, it's not just the individual that gets hurt, but it's the entire family unit, because if one of the parents, for example, is injured, like the father, but he's the breadwinner maybe for the household, now the entire family structure gets destroyed. Everything changes. And so how are the kids affected? How is the wife affected? And how is the injured individual affected? Oftentimes the injured individual doesn't want to be a burden to his or her family, and then that has to be told to the jury in the right way. So there are a lot of things at play, and that's why when you have a case where there is a serious life-changing injury, it is invaluable to go to the person's home, to get to know them, to break bread with them, to really find out about them, to have them send you all their iPhone photos, their photo albums, really get to understand the individual and the family and their friends, and maybe even their neighbors, their co-workers. And then I could tell you what I think this case could be worth, right? Once I get a sense of who this person is. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, we want to hear your story. If you've been in a serious accident and you've had a life-changing forever injury, we want to hear your story. Please tell us your story. And then once we hear your story, maybe we could give you some guidance. If you're in another state, if you're not in New York, we could just do a consultation and give you some guidance. If you already have a lawyer and you're happy with them, that's fine. If you just wanted to get a second opinion or chat with us, we're happy to do that. But if you're looking for an attorney, if you're looking for that counselor that's going to stand with you toe to toe and not be afraid, not back down, and go up against the billion-dollar insurance companies and get the absolute maximum result that is possible by law, that is legally possible, we're here to do that. We're here to help you. And we have partners in all 50 states, like the top of the top, creme de la creme attorneys. We have partners in California, Texas, Florida, the Midwest, Ohio. We've done cases in smaller cities like Green Bay, Wisconsin. We've done cases in Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, pretty much everywhere. Pretty much everywhere. I've even gotten some calls in Alaska and Hawaii. So pretty much everywhere, all over the United States. And if it's in New York, we could do it directly. So, and we could also do it directly by partnering with someone in another state. Like I have partners that have done cases in Iowa, California, Florida, pretty much everywhere. So, so any way you slice it, you know, we're here to help. And I wanted to explain that though, because I think that's the number one question that everyone has been asking is how much am I going to get? Well, a lot of that depends on, has your lawyer found out? Has your lawyer asked you, what's your story? Have they asked you, you know, what's your biography? Have they found out about your childhood, about what's important to you? Because ultimately, who are jurors? Jurors are just people, right? Anybody could be called for jury duty. I could be called for jury duty. You could be called for jury duty. Jurors are people we see in the supermarket. Jurors are people we see walking down the street, in the subways, anywhere, right? In the post office. So they get called for jury duty. Do you think they want to read about medical records and, you know, arthroscopic debridements or herniated discs? They might not even understand what that is. And they're not going to be interested in medical bills. Or if you tell them, hey, my medical bills are $36,674.37, they're going to say, well, okay, then I'll give you that amount. But you don't want $37,000 if you have a life-changing forever injury. You may be entitled to $3.7 million or maybe even more than that, right? So it's very, very crucial to be able to tell that human story. And there's a lot of layers to it because you have to interview co-workers, you have to interview neighbors, friends of friends, you know, go through and really do a deep dive. And that's not something that you can do overnight. That's something that you have to start doing at the very beginning when you get hired and continue to do, and you finish up right before trial. And you keep doing it, you know, and there's a lot of interesting stories. One of the stories that I see in many cases, not in every case, but in many cases, I see this theme developing, and that is a theme of overcoming. Sometimes you have somebody who, you know, maybe has some problems in their life before the accident, but they overcame that problem, and now the accident happens. Now it's a serious life-changing injury. And then the theme will be that they're going to overcome this too, just like they overcame the prior problem. Sometimes people are either homeless or they have a problem with alcohol or drugs, or they have some kind of history, and then they've overcome that. And now just as they overcame that first hurdle, they get hit with this. They get hit with this, you know, bad car crash where they need a fusion surgery or a severe brain injury, but they're going to fight to overcome that too. So it's a story of hope. It's a story of, you know, it's a positive story. It's not a story of whining. It's not a story of malingering and saying, oh, everything hurts, because that's not going to result in a lot of money from a jury. But it has to be a story of them trying to overcome, of them wanting to get better, both getting better in terms of their health and getting better in terms of the person that they are, and then getting back up on their feet and a positive future. But everything that was taken, sometimes what's taken from an individual and what's taken from a family is that joy, right? Because you have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's right in our Constitution. It's right in our Declaration of Independence. Those are rights that everyone cherishes. Every American, every human being cherishes these rights. And when you take that away, when you take away someone's right to life, to living a pain-free life where they get joy day in and day out, when you take away someone's happiness, when you take away those pursuits, those passions, what is that worth? Well, some people might say that is invaluable, meaning that is priceless. That is worth more than anything. That's worth more than a Ferrari that's a $5 million car, or a house that's a $10 million house. That is truly priceless. So it's our job as a trial attorney to explain that priceless asset to a jury and to have them then allow for a number for all of the harms and losses, including the economic damages, which are the medical bills, the loss of household services, the lost wages. But the largest part is going to be that pain and suffering, non-economic component, the past and the future, pain and suffering, as well as the loss of enjoyment of life. So I hope this has been helpful. But next time, I think it's important, like if you already have a lawyer or if you are looking for a lawyer, ask yourself, has the lawyer ever asked me to tell them my story? And if they haven't, well, why is that? And if you want to tell your story, right, if you call the lawyer up and say, hey, Mr. So-and-so, I want to tell you my story. What are they going to say? Are they going to say, yeah, sure, come over, let's sit down. Let me get out my legal pad. Let me get out my recorder. Let me record this. Let me start developing a story. Almost like if I was shooting a movie, right? If I wanted to be the next Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg and film a movie, wouldn't I want to outline the plots? Wouldn't I want to outline the scenes so that it's the most persuasive, the most entertaining movie that I could produce? And it's the same thing with the trial. A trial is a theater. It's like a movie. But in order to prepare the movie the right way, you have to also set the scenes, outline everything, prepare everything. Otherwise, it's not going to be much of a movie. It's not going to be much of a trial. It's going to be boring. Everyone's going to fall asleep, and it's going to result in a very small amount. So let us know what you think. We are here for you. Our goal is helping serious injury victims and families. Please like and subscribe to our channel. And we look forward to learning your story and helping you. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.